Hi, second grade teachers. I am going to talk to you guys about few little different things today, actually. With our measurement work this week, it is all about word problems and thinking about two different standards. The one around comparing length, and then there's one about just solving contextual problems using length. And so for the comparing length, first of all, we know how tricky comparing is for second graders. So I started with a little warm up by just measuring objects that they have at home or they can have in bags or whatever that we can send home with them. But I figured we could start with measuring and just comparing those lengths first. Warm up a little bit before we start working into problems. But then the second day, you notice that they actually become word problems and the numbers get a lot bigger. And this is still work that they've done before. They've had plenty of practice with this, with finding the difference between these numbers. But adding that length piece might make it a little bit more tricky. Maybe it'll make it even easier. I don't know. I didn't teach this lesson last year, but I am looking at the standard and I'm trying to think critically about that. And that's been really the focus of my learning as I get ready to plan these lessons and put them out on video. So I warmed up just comparing two lengths. Then the second day was really using story problems to find the difference between those lengths. Then we went into one-step word problems, and I got that from our book. And then I also created, we also have some independent practice to go with that. The next day is one that I didn't do a video of, but in my lessons, there's a task that you can do that actually is them first starting out comparing some numbers, then they're ordering length, ordering height, and answering some questions about that. I thought that was something that they could pretty well do on their own if they work through the problems. And that's in our supplemental materials on Canvas from the district. So I didn't think I needed to do a video for that, and you can kind of choose how you plug that in. I plugged it in after my comparing problems, but before my adding and subtracting links, because I felt like we needed to do some more comparing, ordering, before we started doing some other story problems. And it's kind of a breakup and a change in instruction. But for the adding and subtracting links, what I try to be mindful of is choosing word problems that have the unknown in different spots, because we're thinking about all the different problem types, right? So we want addition, we want subtraction, we want the unknown in different spots, whether it's the change, whether it's the start, or whether it's the result. And so I try to give opportunities for all of that, and tried to make sure in that work that we were really comparing and thinking about these different ways to go about it, using addition to help us solve subtraction to help us solve addition when the change is unknown, some different ways to think about that. And I did the same thing with the work you're seeing behind me with our 2 steps. Those were from the supplemental lessons, but I tried to really pull out. One thing I think I forgot to do with the 2 step word problems at the beginning was really thinking about the ways to write it as 2 separate equations and then as one. And I was looking carefully at the supplemental and noticed that they actually did a different order here. So like this one, they subtracted and they subtracted, but then they added these 2 and then subtracted that chunk. I thought that was really cool. I thought some of the kids would really benefit from seeing that other strategy or way to go about solving that. And so I want to make sure that came up in our discussion on the video. I didn't feel like we had enough time to do 3 launches for our 2-step problems. So I used that 3rd launch as a exit ticket for us to just get some information, but there is independent practice for each of those. Thinking about our standards and thinking about really giving our kids ample opportunities to practice different types of problems with results or unknowns in different spots, and just exposing them to both 1-step, 2-step, and comparing problems as much as possible, I think is extremely helpful. I've made some exit tickets because I don't know about you all, but in looking at my data, it gives me great information about the fact that I need to make sure that when I'm doing exit tickets or giving them chances to practice in spirals, that they have chances to see problems where there are multiple choice questions or multiple choice answers to choose the one that fits best with their work. And so I did include 2 exit tickets that were set up that way, just to kind of give them that extra little layer of support in solving those problems that way. So thinking about that, those are 2 different pieces that I wanted us to just kind of keep in mind. I wanted to share that with you all with these problems with measurement. It's a little bit different mode as it has been with measurement for the last couple weeks, which is kind of a nice change. But we still want kids measuring. We still want them thinking about different lengths and really focusing on that they're using the same unit of measure when they're adding and subtracting. So if that's not something that comes up in conversation, bring it up in conversation when you're working through some problems. Last thing I want to talk about, I know that we're all in these different places with our experience with having accountable talk in our classroom and really setting up those habits of mind and habits of interaction. I feel like we've been doing a lot of habits without naming them over the last year, but I broke back out my cards. I keep them up in my classroom all the time, but I broke them out and started using them today in my videos because I really felt like this will give us kids a chance to kind of warm up and get back into it before they go to 3rd grade next year, and hopefully are seeing these again. It's also something that really is easy to forget about when there's so many other pieces that are going on in our brains. So I chose to use these 2 today. I felt like they went really beautifully with the lessons we're doing this week. The multiple pathways, especially thinking about that addition and the subtraction and how we can use both of those to help us find the same unknown, and then really comparing those pieces of work. So I felt like these 2, I did them all week, and I'll probably choose 2 more to do next week and 2 the next and so on. Because while I said I feel like that we're doing a lot of these habits, putting a name to them, getting that language in their minds, and also just remembering that a habit is something we do all the time without even thinking. And our mathematicians are doing that, but this gives them some verbiage and some language that they can use to express what they're doing. So don't lose track of those. Those are something we want to keep in mind. In fact, if you are looking at the Canvas course, if you look before you even get into our 2nd grade stuff on Canvas from the math site, they have year-long resources, and this is a great tool for you to kind of think about. It not only includes our habits of mind and habits of interaction up here, but it talks about routines, teaching routines, and then those catalytic teaching habits down here. So they're habits that we have that help our students make sense of the learning. I know this is a longer teacher talk. I hope that it's been helpful, but I will start talking to you about our habits of mind, habits of interaction, and even trying to incorporate some of that partner talk in our work, in our videos. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. It is spring. It is here. I hope measurement's going well for your students. I'm getting ready to make baggies of measurement stuff for mine so that they're all ready for all this fun measurement stuff. And I will put up my little baggy stuff that I put together. I'll put them together, and then I'll write a little list so you guys can use it if you would like to as well, that go along with the videos. So have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you all soon.